This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Good morning, true seekers and true crime junkies. Welcome back to another episode of Hit the Road, Jack, Finding the Zodiac. I'd like to welcome Harriette Sucher to the show today.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, but my phone is acting weird. Right
Well,
before
hopefully,
the show.
hopefully it sticks with us. We can't have that going on the fritz. It's all we've got.
Yeah, it wanted me to play the candy app game. I was like, what? I had to turn off the phone. I don't do those things. Anyways, yeah, we're going to have a great show.
Yeah. Yes, we are. We have some very interesting things going on today. At the top of the laundry and research list is a YouTuber comment. Now, of course, it doesn't actually give me a name for this individual. It's at user FH4NB. I like that my initials are in their username, 8XW3V. Anyways, they said, been saying it for years. Zodiac cases is FBI cases. Good job, Nanette. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by Zodiac cases is FBI cases. Do you?
That was my comment.
That's your comment?
Yeah, and wouldn't let me put in my name. But anyways, yeah, that's my comment.
Oh, nice. Well, then I'm asking the right person. What do you mean is FBI cases?
Well, we've been saying that for the longest time, and every time it shows up, you got the F. You know, even Dennis was saying these been FBI cases because you got the FBI files that have all the evidence. So, and people
or at least
were
copies
saying,
and photographs.
You know, like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what I'm going with is that, you know, Tom Voight and crew and all these other people were claiming that it's only San Francisco, Napa, you know, local jurisdictions cases. But, you know, you keep seeing that the FBI has the evidence. So it's been their cases all along.
Right. And literally speaking, when you cross-reference these letters from different states, once it crosses the state jurisdiction, it becomes FBI to begin with. So a serial killer would also be FBI. You know, they would have automatic jurisdiction. It's no longer a case of a single killing that occurred in a town for a local jurisdiction. We have multiple killings in several jurisdictions. And I would think that that's when the FBI is actually called in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you mentioned and brought up Tom Voight because you're going to love this. So I'm sitting here the other day and I get a notification from my message board, and it says it's Tom Voight who is requesting membership to the board. And I thought that's rather odd. First off, we are not Tom Voight's favorite people by any means. He did not give two licks or shits about Dennis Kaufman. He doesn't believe Jack Terrence is the suspect or a good suspect, if you will, for the Zodiac Killer cases, even though we have the most evidence on any one person there is. So I emailed and I asked, you know, what's your intentions? I know we're not your favorite people. What are your intentions for applying to my message board? Which I did not get a response to. And I thought it was interesting because the email address that's being used for this is posting-sinker. It looks like 0L or 0I at iCloud.com. So clearly, posting sinker sounds like somebody nefarious who wants to come in and sink our posts, right?
Yes. You know, the old time inflaming the message board.
Exactly.
That was their tactic.
Well, so either this isn't Tom Voight. I mean, I highly doubt he's requesting to be on my message board. There's not a lot going on there. Terry does some posting still, and I put up the new videos each time they come out, but I don't really actively use it anymore since I'm doing the podcast and getting the information out this way. People are welcome to go to the message board and ask questions. I'd be happy to answer them. It's at what is that? Toolbox.
Website Toolbox.
Website Toolbox. Yeah.
Yes.
You can look and find
I
my
haven't
message.
been there for a while, but I know it.
Right? Yeah, I don't know it.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything is on auto, right? You just click a bookmark and it takes you to it, and I don't even have to know it anymore. But I believe it's Nanette B website Toolbox. But either way, I thought it was interesting. If it's not Tom Voight, he is welcome to reach out and say somebody's trying to scam us, because that's typically what's going on. Like I said, I don't believe that Tom Voight is actively attempting to be a member of my message board by any means. It's just interesting that the person has used Tom Voight's name, and I'm not sure if they've spelt it correctly. How do you spell Voight's last name again?
I believe it's Boigt, but I've also seen it spelled Boight.
Yeah.
And I think how Jack spelled it too. So
that's how it's spelled on this particular request, Voight. And I do have the option to ban this person, because clearly, I mean, if it's Tom Voight and he wants to have some questions answered, then I am not opposed to that. But if it's somebody pretending to be Tom Voight just to inflame us, or to, cause more drama, be one of those trolls that we talk about, then Tom Voight should know somebody's out there impersonating him and attempting to, mess with us again. Anyways, next order of business at this point, I was extremely excited. I received a letter back from somebody who has been in prison for more than 30 years. I did a handwriting case that identified a police officer who had removed a vial of blood from evidence. And in the case that actually where he was convicted, they had used DNA and found, or claimed to have found, his DNA at the scene of the crime. And he had, in the testimony, the technician who had withdrew the blood had indicated there were 2 vials that were taken, one for DNA typing and one for whether or not there was drugs and alcohol in the person's system. So 2 vials had been taken. However, the police officer who had removed one of the vials, and that's the handwriting that I made the identification on, the evidence logs were completely skewed. There was more than one. There were erasures. There was whiteout. There was replaced information. So I'm looking at 3 different evidence logs, but the one that is really in question has the police officer's handwriting on it, stating that he removed 1 vial of blood, and then attempted to state there was only ever 1 vial of blood that had been withdrawn. However, the technician indicated in his own testimony, and I was sent that testimony to see it, that 2 vials had actually been drawn. So where did the second vial go is the question. Well, the individual had also sent the DNA reports to an independent lab who found that the degradation of the blood sample was identical between what was left at the crime scene and what was in the vial. And the only way this could be possible for them to have exactly the same degradation is if the blood at the scene of the crime was the actual blood that was in the vial. So I got a letter from him. I'm very excited. It's given me goosebumps. It says, "Dear Miss Bartow, on 7/15/2024, I filed petition for writ of habeas corpus in the Santa Clara County Superior Court to vacate my conviction under newly discovered evidence of actual innocence. And I want to thank you again. Thank you so much. And I will write you more when I receive a response from the court." Oh my goodness. If I am able to assist this individual in any way of clearing himself and of it, and him actually being innocent of a crime that he has spent more than 30 years in prison for, then I think that I have actually done my job. And I feel great about that. So I'm looking forward to his response once he gets a response from the court. Very exciting.
Props to you, girl. Okay.
Well, all I did was my job. I mean, I don't even want to have, all I did was my job, which was identify the handwriting. And I hope that that is in some way going to at least get him before the court again to be able to present the evidence of the DNA and the things that clearly are going to show that he was set up, basically, that this vial of blood had been taken and used at the crime scene, then recollected and presented as evidence for him being culpable for the murder when he wasn't. All right, so that brings us to the SLA letter. Yeah, this is where things start getting interesting. So February 14th of 1974, the SLA letter is received. It's postmarked February 3rd of 1974, and it says, "Dear Mr. Editor, did you know that the initials SLA, Symbionese Liberation Army, spell SLA, an Old Norse word meaning kill a friend?" And it's sent to the editor of the San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco, California. Now, this is at the point in time when we see Patty Hearst being abducted by this SLA. This is when we start to see the letters going out to Hearst about where we know where your daughter is, all of the great things that are going on at this time that wraps up the Zodiac around the media and Hearst, like we've been talking about. So the initials SLA is for the Symbionese Liberation Army, the Norse word for kill, a friend. So again, a citizen, a friend, like the sign-offs are all pretty much similar to what we're seeing going on with the Zodiac. And the writing is most like the Scorpion writings to John Walsh, but also like the 1986 letter. Yeah. SLA equals, well, now, was there a Manson family connection to the SLA?
There's a lot of people that say there were. It seems to be an indirect connection, especially in my view now, because he was known as, like the family. And then you have Lightning Amen as being brought up in a lot of the ones that I've done recently. We've done a show or two that brings up Lightning Amen, the family. So there is an indirect connection. Manson was down there with Lightning Amen, his ranch, pretty far apart, I think, but still in the San Bernardino County region. So, yeah, the long-winded answer is there seems to be some kind of connection.
Right. Well, and in here, when it signs off a friend, we saw that in Black Dahlia, and I labeled it as Q20. I'm not sure what communication that is anymore, but I believe it was the Armand Robles connection where he signed off a friend, the fellow student, Patricia Houts, and a citizen by Zodiac. So all of these are wrapping themselves around each other. Now, the envelope itself, like I said, it is sent to the editor, San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco, California. There is a date at the bottom left-hand corner that says February 1974. I'm not sure if this is Zodiac's writing. It is similar to the writing that is on the actual letter itself, or if it was something that was written by law enforcement or FBI afterwards. But I still did make a comparison with that. It is a 26-year anniversary note of the Gladys Kearns death. Zodiac is gone until September of 1974, and Patty Hearst was a huge story maker in this movement. And Daddy Hearst, as I wrote, Daddy Hearst made a huge amount of money selling papers over it, I'm sure. Now, this letter is not on the confirmed list of the FBI FOIA communications from the Zodiac Killer, but everybody has agreed, or at least the document examiners had agreed, that this was another communication written by the Zodiac. The SLA manifesto for sale in a magazine store in Stockholm, Sweden in August of 2008. So we see things that have happened in Sweden, though I have not introduced those into this podcast. There were murders over there. They were camp murders where bodies were stacked on top of each other. They were couples that were murdered. I want to say there was 4 or 6 of them that were camping that were killed, but I didn't actually enter that. And then I told myself to research Patty Hearst's involvement, since this may be a news promoting and newspaper selling event. Was this something collectively decided to have happen with Patty Hearst just to make more money, just to sell more newspapers. I don't put anything past these people. Even this whole Trump thing that has gone on. It's not that I've been listening to the news. I barely heard about it from a friend by text about what had happened to Trump. And half of me wanted to say, yeah, I know the other side wants to take him out, but we just don't assassinate people anymore. After JFK, it's just not a thing to do. And so that made me think, did Trump perpetrate this himself so that he could get the attention of America, make himself look like a victim that would give him the pity votes that he's looking to get into office? So recently I just posted something that said, we don't want anybody in 2024. American can do better than what we've got running for us right now, which is absolutely scary. And we have to be one of the biggest jokes in the world to know that people are still trying to off leaders in a country where we're supposed to be free with the freedom of speech and all of the things that we take for granted here. So I do find that whole entire thing, maybe even just a crisis antagonist type situation like we see with the Zodiac cases. So on the PowerPoint
it would
presentation,
be something like an opportunity. I really don't think, anything like that was saying that, it happened and they said, well, we can definitely use this. It's not pretty, but, so, and I think that's what happened with the SLA issues. And that's why Jack is triggered to be real quick. They're pregnant with Patty Hearst in late 1953. That's when Frank Olson goes out the window, MK Ultra stuff, born early 1954. And now this is happening. I think he's trying to work, but he's being triggered and keeps, seeing Frank Olson going out the window. He's in UC Davis and he keeps looking for that freaking stamp, the cure.
Well, I did do a lineup of the...
making...
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, again, it's just an opportunity. And sir, it did sell newspapers worldwide.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Millions of newspapers. I'm sure you've got one of the hottest media magnets in the world. His daughter's purportedly been abducted, supposedly goes through mind control, commits a robbery at a bank, and is pardoned in the end. Like, I don't know of much more that could make the greater news than that. Like, that is just, Anyways, I did do a cross comparison of the February 1974 from the letter to a written picture that Jack had written the words February 5th, 1989 on. I can see that the B is slanting in the same direction. The bowl of the B is actually protruding in a similar area. Now, of course, there is a lowercase e in Jack's and a capital E in the one that's in the Zodiac, but the capital letter F, again, is very similar, not only in slant, shape, size, form, relation, spacing between the crossbars. Everything is pretty much very consistent with Jack's handwriting. Now, this brings us to the solve that you have for this particular communication. Do you have that one available?
Oh, yes, I do. And I remember almost crying when I saw what it said. And I think I sent you a text. Nanette, this is sad. So anyways, it's IORK. It's an anagram. The whole thing is an anagram.
Okay.
IO, which is RK. Norma Mortensen had baby.
What is RK?
That's Robert Kennedy. He's trying to say, I think that Robert Kennedy is saying that Norma Mortensen had baby, did not kill self, in parentheses, EADLYM did.
What's that mean?
His sister is Nanny. Well, let me just read out the whole thing because, again, it's an anagram. It's documents in order. Robert Kennedy said, Norma Mortensen had my baby, did not kill herself. Edward Adams, Donna Lass, Eves Montan did. Her sister is Nanny. My wife, Ethel, pay aid to raise our little girl as own alone.
So let's see.
That's an anagram.
Right. And so sister is Nanny. Her sister is Nanny, my wife, Ethel. So who is the sister? Do we know who that is?
She's last name Morris, I remember, right. But she had a baby. Gladys Baker Morris became famous at the same time as Dennis is trying to say my dad, my stepdad is the Zodiac. So that woman was believing all along that the person who had raised her was her mother, but on the deathbed is saying, I'm actually a half sister to Marilyn Monroe, the famous person. That's your real mother. So
she's the one that came out and said she was the love child of Marilyn Monroe, and was it JFK? But here it's saying RK is taking credit for her.
Well, it's saying, if I remember correctly, the document that Gladys Baker Morris found is said on the final, after years of trying to find to see the public version of this document of the adoption, anyways, that is saying that John F. Kennedy is the father and that Norma Mortensen is the mother. But this is saying that Jack is saying that this is a Kennedy baby, and it does make sense that Marilyn is going to protect the real father because she doesn't want him to be killed, And so I'll just say it's John F. Kennedy because they're going to kill him first.
And they did.
And, all these people died. Yes. Yeah.
So RFK and JFK are both dating Marilyn Monroe at the same time Giancana is, correct?
Yeah. And Giancana is, I picked up early on that Giancana is pissed as hell that he couldn't make her pregnant, but a Kennedy could.
And, well, it's a shot in the dark. I mean, it's not like a dog where I don't suppose it's like a dog where, multiple males can knock up one female with, different puppies in a single litter. So it has to be somebody.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings me to this next one. It's a writing on the wall, I believe, from SLA you had down, which was every day. Let's see. Every day my rage grows, fonder of the poison I pack into the heads of my bullets. All right. So I'm going to read the message and then you can read the solve. So it says, every day my rage grows fonder of the poison I pack into the heads of my bullets. We are getting ready to strike for the loss of our comrades, brothers, sisters, prisoners of war. The bitter anger we feel is juicing in our veins with a storage full of hate. So XX crash will be deadly. What's XX crash will be dead? Oh, Twin Towers. Is that I see what you've got. All right. So do you have this one available to read?
Oh, definitely. It's just an anagram. And that picture that I sent you is from theydon'tlikeus.com. And it's a very poor quality picture. But to make a long story short, I think that this is a fax that went out and then he ripped it up, put it on the wall and, glued this. And then that's a picture of that. But anyway, it's R.H. Patty, Robert Hearst, Randolph Hearst. Patty, she's so sorry for Heist and then he's saying the Eisenhower Saudi EOPE, that's Thomas Dewey, and then it's say that era, age, Feldman, LSD, George White, Gottlieb, Frank Olson, Anthrax, CIA, MK Ultra, the two Twin Towers and the X spot. Anyway, storage full of ID and IO, that's years of documents, files. Why a future, i.e. surprise, therefore afterwards, surprise bin Laden group time bomb of towers, World Trade Center, WTC-7, crash to destroy every secret thing, terror of San Francisco, J. And then I put Jack Terrence because I know it's from him. And get this, Patty Hearst's book title was named Every Secret Thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I never bought that book, but I found that very interesting that he put, they're going to destroy every secret thing.
Well, and World Trade, or the building number 7, contained the CIA office and the Treasury office. Information or reports at that particular point in time was that the Bush family had absconded with $270 trillion worth of America's Social Security funds. I would assume that the only way to get rid of all of the information without somebody finding some misfiled documents would be to crash it to the ground and destroy everything.
Sorry. Well, phone delay.
Yeah, we can't
But
talk
when
over
he's
each
doing this,
we can't talk over each other or nobody's going to hear us.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
World
so
Trade Center 7 wasn't built yet when he did this.
no, not at the time this letter is written. So that's an
Yeah, so
extremely
he's knowing
interesting.
yeah, he's knowing that this is coming, and he's trying to find the cure for himself and all kinds of other people.
Well, and maybe this again is how the FBI has kind of labeled this as the Zodiac knowing about future plans of things, or at least uh, telling the world through his communications what's coming next. And again, on the outset, if you're looking at these communications, they do not explicitly say that anybody is next unless he actually says the word next. So for them to know that he is seeing things in the future or predicting things in the future through the communications means that they are literally getting some type of solve or code from these letters that are giving them that information. Okay, so the next one is another SLA letter, and it says, "Dear Hearst family, I am white, and I am sorry I joined the people who have your daughter. I saw her Wednesday, and she was all right. She is brave and beautiful and innocent." And this really strikes home with the Sherry Jo Bates typewritten letter, because this is also a typewritten letter, but talking about innocence and beautiful and all of this stuff. It says, "Don't let her marry that woad man. He talked to your brass last month and said how to set it up. He said if he marries her, he must have enough money to hold up his head. He got his idea from Miss Angela Davis, who gives orders and ideas to our brass. I am so ashamed to belong. I am trying to get out easy, but God help me if they find out I write this. They are animals, but I don't think they will hurt her. God bless you and God forgive me, a friend." So again, we're seeing the words "a friend," just like the letter that was handwritten. So this ties back, and it's written to R.A. Hearst family, 233 West Santa Ynez Avenue, Hillsborough, California, 94010, and then 2 question marks. And it says for FBI or family. So it literally in the bottom left-hand corner, kind of like in the Sherry Jo Bates letter where he CC'd the police department and the Riverside Press. So you have a solve for this one as well. Do you want to read that one?
Yes. Yeah, this one was pretty much an anagram also of all the misspelled stuff. Anyways, I'll just read the solve. It's IRH, Randolph Hearst, telephone, Raphael, stamp, got Hearst in parentheses, Ohio house, your daughter not safe, weed sister, Kathleen, a.k.a. Sister Susan of the family in parentheses, San Bernardino, and ellipsis or a pause, ... In February 1970, commission baby, father, POW, famed, freed from Vietnam, Barry Mills, Aryan Brotherhood, Lightning Amen, Louis Beam, dash H. Dean, that's Harold Dean Klaus, to let son Mary Tina Lynn for Sterile Hayden, Idaho, pastor, murder, and then it's drop Holly Marie, Santa Fe, New Mexico, as to where is the remedy. Now he's asking for the remedy again. 1949, Dewey, Gottlieb, White, Ira, and that's Ira Feldman. Anyways, Frank Olson, me, LSD Saudi dash DDE, EO, that's the Dwight Eisenhower execute order, United Airlines, American Airlines, Twin Towers, ellipsis, pause, thought you have saved the Lotus Tollins LSD. That's the reverse of the order. Did you save it? Did GHW Bush, Daddy Aid, have it? Oh, how I wish I had saved some. Shitty thing to do. IOU, or Nixon game up August 8, NSJWC.
And that was just anagramming all of the typewritten matter on the particular letter. So it
Yeah,
calls out
pretty much.
Bush and the Bush family, and it talks about the Saudi involvement in the LSD, and then obviously the other individuals. So why is it bringing up Barry Mills of the Aryan Brotherhood and Lightning Amen?
Well, they're going to. These are people that are into trafficking people for money. I think that's pretty
Oh,
much it. So, and then that baby isn't even born yet. That's
well,
baby Holly. That's
interesting that you say that
yeah.
because I did have a YouTuber comment and I didn't get it into the presentation today, but they did actually mention human trafficking and they are referencing, I think, the Saudi area. So for whatever reason, people are definitely finding some type of connection to the Saudi area and human trafficking. And we're hearing this kind of over and over again through different methods and different research. All right, so that brings us to, it looks like, letter from a friend to R.A. Hearst family. This was just the envelope, and you have a solve for the envelope as well, correct?
Yes, I'm looking for that. Hold on a second. It's the envelope. Come on. Yeah, this is the Dear Hearst family 1974 envelope. Correct?
I believe so.
I
Yeah,
believe.
February 11th,
Yeah.
74.
Yep. So this is R.H. That's again Randolph Hearst, Mickey Scott telephone letter, Postcard King Robert Mackenzie River. Then it's kind of blurred, and I say
Let me stop you right there real quick because that kind of kicked off. We have the postcard that is to the king, right? And we have the Mackenzie River is the postcard, the Mackenzie River, Oregon, right? Do I have that right? So,
yes.
okay, so keep
He's
going.
He's trying to clarify that he sent information about this, and they picked up that they used this particular postcard thing. Anyways, so it's got 91 EST, which is supposed to be part of West Island, 8C Raphael small helper Madonna stamp 94170 sent to Bruce Ivins, Lebanon, Ohio. We got Hearst, UTI, that's under the influence. Future is President Nixon, game 8/8/1974, 901, that's game up. And then it's he's saying that more future is IBTU Hoffa and Giancana, and that he's doing something with SP4 Coon Driver. He's saying NASA Moon Quest, Columbia Broadcasting System singer Pearl, University of Texas Avenger Robert Abel, Lightning Amen, commissioned by the Family for Sterile Aryan Nations, Church of Jesus Christ, Pastor Hayden, Idaho, future victim Harold Dean Klaus, Mary Tina Lynn, hit, and then it says there's going to be a hit. Anyway, Sister Susan going to drop off baby, Santa Fe, New Mexico, sign up infant or adoption. And then it's saying big SOD, that's Operation Big. Anyways, then he's trying to say something about the three, Ira Feldman, Sidney Gottlieb, George White, afraid of Olson quitting profession. That's Ira Feldman, fit, LSD, liquor, drugged, Frank and I. Then he's asking about that stamp again. Can't stop us, Bin Laden G, UTI, Saudi EO, destroy, and then he's naming the billions of stuff that's going to be in there. 3,066,890,000, and then it's Dewey Files, and then he's bringing up a World Trade Center 0911.
What was the 411 dial? It's this 411 dial.
Oh, that's the information that they were using 411 to get information on all kinds of people and using it to track people. And there's billions of these documents. He's saying, "Oh,
gotcha."
And then he's saying that. Then he's saying there's going to be one. Oh, for Tower One, it's American Airlines, Flight 11, 9:59, Tower 2, United Airlines, 175, 10:28 a.m. United Airlines 93 PA, 10:03:11. Then he's saying about Tower 7 going down at 5:20 and 33 seconds, I believe. And then he's saying fire, terror, and then he's saying all kinds of stuff. But he's saying UER, where's the remedy? He's screaming again, where's the remedy?
And so if US UTIRECIAUIR. So what is that?
Yeah.
If US
if us are UTI, under the influence, RE the CIA stuff, where's the remedy? He's saying a whole bunch of people are under this. So he's not only looking, I'm picking it up now. He's not only looking at for himself, he's trying to find the remedy to stop all these others.
So in this
how many people?
In this anagram in 1974, he's actually naming the airline, the flight number, and the actual time that these planes are going to hit.
Yeah. And I was shocked to see he's saying that there's going to be one going down in PA exactly when it went down, 10:03 and 11 seconds a.m.
And did building number 7 go down at 5:20 and 33 seconds p.m.? Were you able to verify that?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was actually two explosions. Some people say so, but this one he's clarifying it is definitely 5:20 p.m. at 33 seconds. There's some video of some woman being
How
talked
could he
to
know
when
this?
the thing went down.
How could he know the precise time and the flight numbers and the airline that it was going to be part of?
Well, this is giving me chills, but if I'm understanding correctly, he's saying these are time bomb types, and this is stuff that was going to be installed but was already being installed. He's saying in Tower 1 and Tower 2. And there's even a film with Trump talking about how he saw right after 9/11 the beams. He said that the holes in those beams that he saw, it looked like there were time bombs or some kind of bombs in them. So we got Trump even saying something right after 9/11 about it. It appeared in his professional opinion it could have been, a bomb bringing it down. So,
gotcha.
But it's pre-timed. They were able to do all kinds of things with computers even then. So,
right.
Wow.
All right. Well, that brings us to the next letter. And this is another typewritten letter that says, Dear Hearst family. Oh, no, this is the same, but it looks like you have a second solve to it. Hi, Randolph Hearst, telephone, letter, Xerox, copy, facsimile, Raphael stamp, got Patty Hearst, went to a house in Ohio. Your daughter's not safe. Did we already read this one?
Yeah,
I think we did.
The same one. Yeah. You just probably got a cleaned up version.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I wish I had saved some shitty thing. I owe you. Okay, Jack Terrence. All right. Well, that brings us to the next murder, which we do have an unsolved murder on March 6th of 1974, 20 years of age, Nancy Easton. She had a single stab wound to her chest. This is why I included this, because we have at least 3, I believe, other particular murders where a single stab wound to the chest was what killed them. And in some of the cases, individuals did not even know that they had been stabbed until they collapsed, or the people they were walking with or that was around them were not aware that they had been stabbed. It was such a small hole. There wasn't a lot of blood. So people are trying to revive somebody they think has passed out when literally their heart has been punctured by this single stab wound. So this was done on 65 Cedar Way, Twin Peaks, and the house was then set on fire. So she was basically killed in her home, then the house was set on fire. The interesting part of this is that she is actually dating a guy named Buzz Teeter, who works for the U.S. Forest Service with William Houts, which is Patricia Houts' father, who actually died in 1975 and worked for the California Forest Service for over 25 years. There is also some connection to the, where did I have that on here? Something to do with TRW, which was a company that was working closely with NASA and helping them to build their computers before they got rid of the TRW and started using IBM. So that takes us back to that kind of IBM information that Terry Batcher was talking about. So it says here, Twin Peaks, it's time for FBI agent Dale Cooper and Sheriff Harry S. Truman to once more begin unraveling the weirdness surrounding the murder of Laura Palmer as Twin Peaks returns to television tonight. So, of course, they're juxtaposing this particular murder of Nancy Easton to what's going on in the movie show Twin Peaks. It says, but even as these characters sift through the even more complicated clues in their fictitious mystery, people in the real Twin Peaks may be recalling their own town's own unsolved murder, the one that claimed the life of 20-year-old woman in 1974. Nancy Lynn Easton's body was found March 6th that year in the burned out remains of the home where she lived on Cedar Way. Although arson was suspected early in the investigation, it was not revealed until a month later that Easton had been killed before the blaze. Sheriff's officers have never released the cause of death in the still open case, but Imogene Easton, Nancy's mother, said her daughter was killed by a single stab wound to the chest. Nancy Easton, like Laura Palmer, was a beautiful young woman slain in Twin Peaks, but there the similarities end. So basically, they were just bringing this back up to let everybody know that there was still this unsolved murder of Nancy Easton. And I didn't find it to be a simple coincidence that she was stabbed a single time in the heart and that her boyfriend worked in the Forest Service, which we know Jack is closely related to, likely had some keys to some of the gates to get himself in and out of different places. But he's very, very, I lost my little train of thought there. He's all of these different locations where camping may be had. He is very familiar with these different types of areas. So, and then we have another.
Well, you can. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
No.
I was going to bring up there is a camping spot not too far from San Francisco. I think that would be Tamalpais and those areas. So
yes, and Tamalpais listed on
that's what I'm bringing up. Yeah, because I used to live there. So, but it's possible. A lot of things.
Well, and we know that the Zodiac said that they were going to look like fake fires and accidents, and we had the by knife, by gun, by fire type things. So fire plays directly into this. We have a second murder around this time frame where a woman was found dead in a fire who was strangled. So police homicide detectives disclosed yesterday that a 63-year-old San Bernardino woman, first thought to have accidentally burned to death at her home 2 weeks ago, was strangled. So again, they're covering up the fact that she was killed by attempting to burn. Chief Louis Fortuna said, yeah, exactly. Chief Louis Fortuna said pathological studies of material taken from the body of Belle Brizardine of 1632 West 27th Street showed evidence of foul play. Her body was discovered in the charred ruins of her home September 7th. Investigators said that at the time that it appeared to be an accidental death. Detectives say they have not yet determined the cause of the blaze, which gutted the interior of the home, but based on cause of death, they said there was a possibility of arson. Fire department investigators said the blaze appeared to have started in the living room of the home and smoldered for several hours before reaching flash point. The woman's body was found curled around the refrigerator in the kitchen. Detectives said pathology work on the body was done by Dr. Irving Root. So we have another one that's happened just like that. Now, what was this? Okay. So that brings us to March 17th, 1974. Jack has a criminal complaint filed against him by El Dorado County, which covers the Placerville area. So now we know he's up in Mount Auckham at this point, which is the Placerville area. He is arrested for a misdemeanor for poaching with Ronald Lee Steenbergen, which I believe that is Nora's sister's husband, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
And Stephen Ray Dodson. So trial is set for July 10th of 1974. This is my second run-in with Ronald and substantiates the presence of Jack in Nora's life. The best friend story, so I'm not sure if this is Jack's best friend, but if you're going to get caught busted, or if you're going to get busted poaching, it's probably with your best friend. I'm just going to say. Or has Ronald been a hideout for Jack all of this time? So it turns out it turns out Ronald Steenbergen is Jack's brother-in-law through the marriage of Nora's sister Martha to Ronald. Not only was he said to be a really good friend, if not best friend of Jack's, he was also his hunting buddy and seems to live in near proximity to wherever Jack was up until he moved to Minnesota. So turns out Jack was interested in Martha first and then introduced his best friend Ronald to her, who then married Martha. They became a couple and eventually married. Then Martha introduced Nora to Jack, who found an interest in Nora. Now, what I did note on this particular complaint is that he has now been arrested under the name Jack W. Terrence, spelled Terrance. So this is the, I believe, third time we've seen him convicted of a crime under a name that is not his. So no wonder every time I had a private investigator run the background on Jack, we never found any criminal convictions. I think maybe a speeding ticket or something like that, but just none of the stuff was coming up. And it wasn't until I thoroughly read these documents to determine that it's not even under Jack Terrence's real name, which again must mean that he has identifications that list this name. Now, this brings us to
possible with this guy.
Exactly. So now this brings us to the purchase of his blue Dodge truck with a white camper shell, and we do hear sightings of this from witnesses in regards to some of the murders as we go through. I will cover any witness statements that talk about the blue pickup truck with the white camper shell, but we can see it here in this picture on the presentation. Jack is still in the Mount Auckham area where he buys a pickup 12 days after being arrested for poaching. He buys this truck, and it looks like he's planning on leaving. He's got everything set up. It looks like he's around a lake. I'm not exactly sure which lake this is, whether or not it's South Lake Tahoe, but he's not far from it if he's in the Placerville area. I'm going to guess he's maybe about an hour from South Lake Tahoe?
I believe so, yeah.
So
it's not that far away.
Right. And it looks like he's purchased this truck from a relative, and maybe the father of Nora, because we know that he purchased the 12 acres up in Mount Auckham, I believe, from her father. And it says Alfonso Cosme Chacon. And I believe Chacon is the maiden name for Nora, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, and as we discussed before, Dennis had said that Jack would take them out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods after arriving at the camping location, but take them off in a direction, drop them, and expect them to find their way back to camp. So he was basically attempting to train them to be orienteers when they were really young children, using either a radio or other apparatuses to kind of track the directional or the direction that they should be going in to find their way back to camp. But how scary would that be as a kid? I mean, I would think that's worse than a corn maze, right? You can't get out. You can't find your way back. You don't know where home is.
All I know is you're bringing back some memories of my mother being a Boy Scout den mother, and they were teaching them at 6, 7, 8 years old. So, but that's more professionally. That's just, dropping the kids off, find a way back, kids. Good luck. That's not right.
How scary would that be? I mean, I think that's just as scary as being tossed into the water when you can't swim and told swim or die. It's the same thing in the woods. One wrong turn, you can end up down a ravine. One wrong turn, you can end up going the wrong direction and never make it back. You can become dehydrated. You are going to be hungry. Like, I can't imagine being a kid and having to go through that. Well, that breaks us down to 1 minute here. So if there's anything you would like to add, we are pretty much at the conclusion, and we'll have to pick up where we left off next week.
Well, I'll just say, like I said the last time, God bless America, and everybody have a wonderful day. Enjoy the spring here, but anyway,
right?
Still, good day.
I'm hoping it's going to start getting a little bit cooler. That will be nice. All right, everybody. Well, what's that?
I was going to say me too, and I hope we're going to get past the heat.
Exactly. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday. Take care.